Hey, good morning. It's Monday morning, a brand new week, Thanksgiving week here in the U.S. So, for those of you celebrating Thanksgiving, let me just be the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for sure. I'm thankful for you. Thankful for you joining me today. Thankful for you supporting the Twitter or X page, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you join us, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you very much. And I mean that when I say I'm very thankful to you for that. My name's Jeremy. One of my all-time favorite pieces of hate mail I've received is from a dude that said I had such a punchable face. So, it's amazing the as a journalist, right? As a student of human nature, human psychology. For my real job, I work in the training and development world. It's fascinating to me, people that get so upset about social media content. And I'm just using myself as a small example, right? Someone that thinks I have a punchable face because they disagree with something I said about a rock band. It's just a funny thing. And I think it was Mike Tyson that said, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, on social media, you don't have to, it's not like the good old days where people would just punch you in the face, right? If you said something they didn't like. So people can hide behind their monitor and their keyboard and say whatever they want. Things they would never say. This guy would never probably come up to me and tell me I had such a punchable face. But it is what it is. It's funny. And any of you that are a content creator, right? You get this. You put yourself out there, whether it's in a podcast or a blog or anything. And there are people out there that it's like they get their jollies trying to put you down, right? Even though they don't have the guts to put themselves out there, but they like to pick on other people. It's just a fascinating thing to see. Fascinating. All right, we got some news today. Paul McCartney tried to convince Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson to tour again. So this conversation took place in September during the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert in London. And it was Dave Grohl introduced Geddy and Alex to Paul. Paul had never met them. They had never met Paul. Of course, they were huge idols of Paul. I mean, every rock band from the 70s was, it was the Beatles appearing on Ed Sullivan that got the wheels turning for almost any of those 70s era rockers, right? Alex says, Dave was so sweet, talking about Dave Grohl. He comes up to us at rehearsal and he goes, Paul McCartney's up next to rehearse and he's outside. And he said to me, Dave, I've never met anyone from Rush before. And then McCartney soon entered, began chatting with the other musicians. This is Geddy Lee continuing. He's just a very lovely man, a very positive person. And he said he probably thought Paul had heard of Rush, but he assumed he'd probably never listened to any of their music, right? Quote, I got the sense he knew who we were and had heard about us. He had never listened to us. So at the show, he was there. He watched the set. I think he was really curious because people probably had mentioned us to him. Now, after the concert, Paul McCartney, Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, they spent some more time together. At which point the Beatle made his pitch to get the Rush rockers back on the road. He said, quote, this is Lee continuing, Geddy. After the show, he was incredible. He was so warm and embracing and positive. He came and sat and drank with us. We all got plastered together, Geddy recalled. And he was very emphatic, talking about, what Ringo always says, it's what we do. And I said, this is Geddy, I said, talk to Al because he's the stubborn one. And so he was lecturing Alex about how great it is to tour. You have to do it, man. You have to get back out there, man. And Alex said something like, I'll do it if you'll be our manager, to which McCartney responded, I'll manage you, mate. So The ice is beginning to thaw, right? Since Neil's death, there was just always this assumption that we'd never see a Rush tour again. And maybe I shouldn't call it a Rush tour, that we'd never see Geddy and Alex out on tour together again. But I don't know that it's intentional. It's a stealth campaign to get folks prepared for Geddy and Alex going back out on the road. Now, will they call it Rush? Probably not. I'm assuming they won't, but obviously they'll be playing Rush music. There are a number of drummers that would love to do it with them and that could do it. So that will be interesting to see. And gosh, to have a conversation with Paul McCartney and he's telling you, you need to do it, you need to do it. Well, they've probably thought about that. And Paul still does it and still puts on great shows. So speaking of old guys still putting on shows, the Rolling Stones are teasing a new announcement expected tomorrow, November 21st, which is likely to be details of their imminent return to the road in support of their new album, Hackney Diamonds. These guys just continue to go. I haven't seen them. The only time I saw the Stones was in 1989, the Steel Wheels tour. And it was a great show. And people thought they were old then. That was 1989. But they're still doing it. Given that the band's November 17th posting on X, formerly Twitter, prominently features both a maple leaf and a U.S. flag, the smart money is on Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Ronnie Wood launching their next world tour with North American dates. Over the course of the past weekend, the Stones' iconic logo was spotted in a number of U.S. cities, including Denver, Las Vegas, Cleveland, and Houston. And after featuring the band's lips and tongue logo on their team cars at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, the Aston Martin website is promising, quote, an exciting incoming announcement by the legendary rockers, end quote. So I bet that's what it's about. Probably going to be a Rolling Stones tour. Again, from the Aging Rockers on Tour file, in a recent conversation with Guitar World, Brad Whitford opened up about Aerosmith's farewell and explained if Steven Tyler and Joe Perry were faking it about this topic. I don't know what they're faking. What, that this won't be a farewell or that this is? I got to give this site credit. It's Metal Wani. Let me just say Metal Wani's first language is not English. So sometimes it's a little tough deciphering what their articles are about, but they got news. So thank you, Metal Wani website. Quote, this is from Brad Whitford. In my mind, it's not possible to keep doing, or let me say that. Quote, in my mind, it's not possible to keep going. I don't BS anybody. I just don't do it. And sometimes that upsets people. That's just the way it is. People have to be willing to accept that. And I was probably the last person to sign on for this tour because even though this is a multi-million-dollar business, the reality is you've got to work awfully hard to end up in a good place financially. And that's a very good point. Back for one more says, do some more guitar lessons. I will. Thank you. Back for one more. I'll do that. He's talking about on the YouTube channel. There's some guitar lessons on there. If you want to learn to play songs really bad, check out my guitar lessons. And back for more. Thanks for tuning in. And the thing about tours, and it's even worse, this is just kind of the state of the music industry. The Who, okay, Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend have both said it does not make sense to make an album anymore because they don't make any money, right? We've all heard the lament of what they make from streaming. Joe Bonamassa posted something here last week. He has friends in Nashville that have millions of streams on Spotify, right? They've written songs and these songs have been streamed multiple, and I'm not talking 1 or 2 million. I'm talking like 10, 12 million times, multiple streams. They make $700. You can't recoup the costs of making an album from streaming. It doesn't work. Touring is almost as bad. It's so expensive to tour. That's why tickets are so much, right? But even then, the bands don't make much money. So Whitford's point is that these are multi-million-dollar things. Just because they make multiple $1 million doesn't mean that the bands make that money. So here's another good example. Okay. In my past, I've taught, right, some business classes. I know a little bit about business, have an MBA. I just do this for fun. Big oil, right? You ask people, the greediest companies they can think of, the big oil companies, right? You know what the profit margin is for a big oil company. And why do people think they're greedy and they make lots of money? Well, because they do. Their revenue is billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars a year. You know what their profit margin is? Between 5 and 7% typically, okay? Where a software company might have a 30% margin, right? What's my point? I didn't mean to make this a lesson on economics. Is revenue is not the same as profits, right? And that comes into play in a concert setting, in a making albums, right? Just because a concert might draw in billions of dollars, the money going out is in the billions as well. So what's my point? What's Brad's point? Brad's point is, well, they got a couple things going. Let me finish the quote here. He says, quote, "But it's not really rocket science, and it should always be more fun than you've ever had, right? There shouldn't be any drama. We humans have enough going on. So when we finish this tour, that's going to be it." So he's talking about, there's been drama in the band over the years. You know, there have been issues with members of the band. They're getting older. He's saying flat out, this will be our last tour, right? So we'll see. This is the last tour. If Aerosmith rolls through your neck of the woods, you should probably go see them. So back for more. You're welcome. Glad to hear you'll be doing more lessons. Still go back and watch some of your older ones like the Loverboy and Def Leppard. Thank you very much. Any of you that want to check out some of my guitar lessons, you can sure do that on the YouTube channel. We got some Loverboy lessons, Def Leppard, ZZ Top, Huey Lewis. There's a lot of different guitar lessons. And I've kind of been focusing more on the news side of things, but you're right. I've just been thinking about that. In fact, I want to get some more guitar lessons up there, and I'll certainly do that. Back for one more. Thank you so much. One last item. I promise you we'd talk about an album today, and I will. Now, back in 1978, remember, this was kind of a clever thing that Kiss did, is all the band members released their own solo albums on the same day. And they were all, they all kind of have the same design. So everyone's got their own album with their picture on it. And this, by far, if you're only going to get one of the Kiss solo albums, Aces is the one to get. Aces is a good album. I mean, standalone, this is a good album. The other ones, not very good. I would rate them. Paul's is probably the second best. Gene's is the third best. And Peter's is just crapatola. I mean, it's crap. But this is a good album. This is the Ace Frehley album. And the band includes Anton Fig of David Letterman fame, the drummer on David Letterman. Will Lee, also in David Letterman's band. Carl Talnacco does some drums. David Lastly and Susan Collins and company do some background vocals. Ace, of course, does lead vocals, background vocals, lead guitar, rhythm guitar, acoustic guitar, guitar synthesizer, and bass guitar. But he's got Anton Fig and Will Lee of the Letterman band. Anton Fig actually played on quite a few Kiss stuff. quite a few Kiss things. People just don't know that. But this is a good album. My favorite track is Rip It Out, the lead off track. A good song. Snowblind, Ozone, Wiped Out. New York Groove was the hit. It was actually a hit. It's probably my least favorite song on the album. It's not a bad song. But again, if you're only going to get one of the Kiss solo albums, this is the one to get, the Ace Frehley album. It's a good album. And Ace Frehley, at least for my generation, everyone will talk about the Beatles, and the Beatles were great. For my generation, Ace Frehley probably inspired more kids to pick up the guitar than anyone else that I know of. Jimmy Page played, but for me, an impressionable 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, Ace was the one that inspired us all. He's very influential. And his solo album is a good album. It's better than several of the Kiss albums, in my opinion. It's a great one. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for following us on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Another update. Live long and prosper. We'll see you.